Let's get it. Have you seen Manchester City's next 4 Premier League games? How the club will see the season out? How the club will see this year out? Crystal Palace, who sits 15th in the Premier League table. Brentford at 14th. Everton at 17th. And Sheffield are dead last. Just like that. Manchester City went 4 games without a win, which hasn't happened in 14 years. That's insane. After 9 points dropped, where does our club sit with more than 20 games to play? 4 points away from Liverpool, sitting in first. Pep before Aston Villa, he said himself, yeah, we're going to win the league. I see it. I see it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Yes, we're not playing the best now, but if we end up playing like Liverpool and like Aston Villa, how I see we're going to, the league is ours. And at this moment, really, the only club that is happy, enjoying City's position right now is Aston Villa. We keep doing our thing and they them. Villa could be playing on Tuesdays and Wednesdays with us next season. Liverpool and Arsenal have a burdensome run of matches. I don't know if you saw that, including them having to play each other. Points will be dropped. Honestly, if it all works out, when the clock strikes midnight, December 31st, going into the new year, Manchester City could start the year top of the league. We're making art over here, baby. Fuck it, we're just gonna do a cold. Oh no, because I actually need this to work for like Baby Blue Baddies. You know?
Fucking Riverside.
While he's doing that, how you doing, Tom?
I was just about to say, good to see you, brother.
Good to see all y'all too. Doing okay. I've made it to this day, so that is good. So, and I look forward to making it to the next one. So, yeah.
I even moved into my living room because I was like, I don't want the internet on no bullshit today. Inch 6'3" max away from my Riverside on bullshit. So just the intro then. Let me get right back to the spot. Start here. All right. Hey, and welcome to episode 80 of Shades of Blue. We are the most comprehensive show about Manchester City, covering both the men and women's game, spanning from the Atlantic Ocean to the Rocky Mountains. We making art over here. I am Crunk Chocolate, and I am with Lando, Tarik, Tom Bomb. Sharpie's out there being all mixy, got done kicking it with the trophies. Now he's just, doing his thing. So we'll see him later this week. How are my show bros doing?
Good, brother.
Doing
Live
all
and well.
right,
Good
man.
to see y'all. Good to see y'all. How about?
Yeah, it's been a good day.
Glad to see y'all again. Been a minute. Not ready to talk on that just yet, but when I'm ready, I'll let y'all know. But I appreciate y'all checking in with me.
Yes, he's here, and that's all that matters. But before we get into anything at all, what I need you to do right now, if you were watching on YouTube, hit that thumbs up for us, show some love, leave a comment on what you thought on the episode, maybe retort to something we said. Let's say you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, any podcast streaming service that allows you to rate and or review. How about you rate and or review us? 5 stars, or what's the point? Please and thank you. Let's stream this Thursday, the most dangerous show about football.
Hey.
It is Saul's monthly visit from Bitter and Blue. We got AJ of Eagle Eye Podcast, Most Dope Human, and Jace Bennett. He plays college football for Knox College. He is a citizen also. I've been trying to connect with him, but it was football season. So now it's done, and he's free. He's rested. I'm excited to connect with him. But you know how it is, guys. No topics off limit. No thoughts held back. It's a good time during the list streams, baby. Tap in with us. And while I'm talking about our FanFest live shows, we got 3 this week. For Champions League, I am going to do a watch along actually for our match against Cervania Zvezda. I am teaming up with the homie Colby Stevens of Snobby Boys podcast and G Certified. He is a most dope Man City content creator. Tap in with us. It'll be fun. Just going to try to slowly build some new people in the Shady Gang in fun, new ways. My coworkers work traditional jobs normally, so I am the one who is just like kicking it at random times. I can wake up at 3 a.m. to make a bunch of posts and go back to bed and all that other stuff. So I feel like let's start taking advantage of that. I need to do more live shows. We need to stretch the Shady, and we need to saturate all the markets. Trust me, 2024, big tinks. And
love to see it, Crunk.
Yay! And then this weekend we got the City Men play Crystal Palace on Saturday. Baby Blue Baddies on Sunday. They travel to Everton. Link to those 3 shows are in the description. In today's episode, we start off with our Baby Blue Baddies. They're back! Oh my goodness, I miss them so much. And they started the weekend off with 3 points. Love that. After Triple B, we will discuss the previous weekend Premier League action. City versus Aston Villa, and Luton Town. Yay! Put a little space in between that City talk with our Premier League segment. Shock all Premier League applause. Anchoring the episode will be some previews of the 2 games coming up this week. Red Star Belgrade. Will Pep play the kids? Give Scott Carson a go? We'll talk about that. There's a match next weekend welcoming Crystal Palace. Losers of 4 of their last 5. I was just going to leave it at losers because it just felt good.
Get at them real quick, Crunk.
I'm getting into them. Wait, they are my shock on applause. I'm just going to say you now. Crystal Palace. Yeah. The whole vibe was just killed. I thought mine froze a skip for a second. I was like, oh, okay, it'll pop back. And then it didn't.
We should tell Riverside we want money back every time we have an issue.
Like facts. And this is recording, so that's the good thing. I can send it to him and be like, hey, yo, you want to just watch the first 10 minutes of this and tell me what the fuck is going on? Tom Bomb, what are those Baby Blue Baddies doing to them?
They are coming off of international break and making their presence known in the WSL table. So also getting a little bit of retribution because this weekend they played Aston Villa and they beat us in every match that they played us. In all 3 matches, they beat us in the Conti Cup, in the FA Cup. They beat us in the home fixture. They beat us in the reverse fixture to open the season. That was one of the losses to open the season. So we owed this team something. So it was very good to see that result on the scoreboard. Before we get into the result, let's get into the lineup. So we had our baby hair queen, Kiara Keating, in goal. In defense, we had Laya Alexandri, Alana Kennedy, Alex Greenwood, Layla Wahabi. Midfield of Hasagawa, Roard, and Coombs. Ankledal was out as she did pick up an ankle injury on international duty with Sweden, I believe in that 5-3 loss that they suffered to Spain, in which they had the lead on Spain. But we don't have to get into that.
Yeah. Keep it moving.
Chloe Kelly, Bunny Shaw, Lauren Hemp. To open the match, we had quite a few chances. Bunny had a header go over off after a really, really nice cross outside of the box. You really thought that she was going to head that in because Van Dam Stolar, their goalkeeper, was just kind of lost in space on it. Then almost immediately after that, in the 7th minute, we just let their right back just kind of come up the field, and she just kind of hit it real sweet after the recycle on on a corner kick, excuse me. It was really disappointing to see. It was kind of against the run of play, most of the possession to that point, but they were down 1-0 already. So it was
whoever, I don't remember the goal scorer, but she was shocked she made it. It was perfect. The second she made connection,
she's a defender. She's a defender. She doesn't hit shots like that.
Yeah, swung the foot at it, and it just went perfect.
Yes.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
Oh,
it was
Golazo.
Keating could have done. Yeah,
for certain. Hats off to Daniel Turner for scoring that goal for sure. So then it was like a whole bunch of City possessing the ball, and Aston Villa has been in this position before, trying to hold a lead, and they have not been successful. So it was you were hoping that history, their current form, would still hold to play. You go into halftime, still down 1-0, created a couple of chances, but nothing to write home about. Alana Kennedy did seem to be limping around in the last 15 minutes of the first half. So Gareth Taylor kind of pulled some strings, and he substituted her out and brought in Kirsten Kasperai, which brought in Laya Alexandri. And that partnership had worked a lot last season with her and Greenwood as the two defenders. And then you brought in Kasperai, who kind of gives a different dynamic on the pitch, in that if this was a men's sport, we would probably call her sneaky athletic. And I think everybody knows what I mean when I say that. She is sneaky athletic because she's very fast. But her pace really did kind of open up the match a little bit, which was what City needed at that point. So kudos to Gareth Taylor for actually seeing that and making that adjustment. And Lauren Hemp found the benefit of that as she received a very nice cross in from Chloe Kelly and dunked that thing in. Manchester City women leads the league in headed goals scored, and it's not particularly close. I believe this was like 11 or 12 or something like that. I'm not quite sure, but it's quite a few. Everybody, rushes to get the ball, gets it back to the center line, game on. City just go back at it, and who did she get? Oh, of course, she got a headed assist off of a corner from Greenwood, which was a really nice header too. She just was at the back post, headed a far back to the near post. No one was back there, and Lauren Hemp just tapped it in. So that was 2 goals in 4 minutes. Are really able to see out the game from there. Carla Ward did make quite a few attacking substitutions. She did bring in Ebony Salmon, who did kind of add a spark for them throughout the match. But other than that, they were able to pretty much kill off the match.
And Tom Bomb, I actually have some clips if it will play, which is why I'm so frustrated. I have both Gareth and Hemp's post-match thoughts. And actually, Hemp won't play.
You really can't argue with anything that the gaffer said.
No.
In his post-match comments, he hit it right on the head. I was just super impressed that again we went down and we were able to come back and get a result, especially get a result back at home, making Joy Stadium a fortress again, which I believe is really important, especially after the Brighton loss, which we don't have to talk about. So up next we have Everton. Everton in their last match, I believe that they that's right. They shut out West Ham, who is now bottom of the table. And in their last 5, let's see.
They just have one other win, 2 draws and a loss. So they're coming off back-to-back wins. They don't look coming in okay form. But
Yeah, but it
when you
like,
think about that,
and it's,
you feel
but
confident about
it's
it.
like, oh yeah, because if you look at the teams that they're beating, it's like bottom of the table teams. Like or Aston Villa is now in 10th, I believe. West Ham is now at the bottom of the table, so like they're beating up on the bottom of the table. So I'm not particularly concerned. I think the only thing that would give me pause is I know that it is away from home, but I'm not. They don't have anyone that really like strikes me as like, oh gosh, like this player is like definitely gonna get us. So yeah,
-7 in goal differential. I mean,
yeah. Because I think they've taken I think they got spanked, and I think they got spanked by like Tottenham, I believe, like some really random ass team. Like it wasn't that they were, um, like it wasn't like a top 3, top 4 team. So yeah, I'm not particularly concerned with anything that Everton has to present. Um, our win did put us at into second place before the Arsenal Chelsea match, which we will get into a little bit later. But we currently sit in third after matches played today. So we are still looking pretty to get at least one of those Champions League spots.
can someone calm me down on the excitement I have right now for Hempo? My God, is she a baller?
Oh,
Yeah, she's
you
amazing.
you
Bro, I'm
can't, and
so
I think
amped
that
off her right now.
I think that I really do think that this is in so many ways like this is contract year is undefeated. This is essentially her contract year. I would hope that Niels Nielsen and her agent are in constant communication to get that deal signed immediately. Because I can't. I Crunk asked me about this earlier while the match was going on, and I was like, I can't imagine her going anywhere in England just based off of what other clubs like. I don't think she's not going across town. I don't believe that and then like Arsenal and uh, Chelsea, like all of the attacking talent that they have, like uh, they're currently not able to use because of injury, like that's just a glut of competition that she would have to fight for. So like, I don't see her if she does leave. I don't see her staying in England. Which
I think
that
she's
is
going to Bayern if she goes anywhere.
yes.
That looks like that's the place that could really use her, could really pay her, and she could see some success.
Yes.
And she would join
Stanway.
But yeah, we don't need to have that. And that's what I wanted to play her interview because she just sounded so like positive about everything and hungry, and it was just great. Like she ended it with the whole interview. This match showed everybody a comeback that we aren't here just to hang around and watch. We are here to win the league. And I was just like, let's go! Let's go! Yeah, we are, girl!
Yeah.
And then, I don't know if you want to get to it now or whatever, but yeah, like, Chelsea doing what Chelsea did.
No, that's my shock, awe, and applause.
Yes,
so
and I have that written. I have it written in there. So I'm just gonna cut that out. So I don't have to. It can actually be a shock and surprise for them.
Sneak.
I like that.
Sneak. We'll sneak. We'll sneak. We'll sneak.
And I want to give a shout out to FanFest Live, who I had them on. Or I want to give a shout out to FanFest Live. I was on their. They've been doing for the month of December weekly shout outs to Premier League US based fans. Shout out to Chelsea Casabaras. I hope I said your name wrong, but I probably butchered it. I apologize. But she had on South Florida, basically Miami's Chelsea supporter group. Then had on UNC's own John Henson, the NBA basketball player, he's a Chelsea fan apparently. So he talked about that. That was really cool. And then I followed up. It was like John Henson, and all of a sudden it was me. And then I was talking.
Hey,
I was like, "This is kind of crazy and cool." So, all right,
what on,
hi,
Crunk?
it's me. It's me. I'm just as important as those people. Yep.
Damn right, Crunk. Absolutely.
So yeah, no, just it was a great time. I'm looking forward to hanging out with them next week. What I've actually really been loving is I've been able to plug in people I know. So FTC, they were on this week. The homie Sky Sunshine, she was on last week. Yeah, that's what this types of things are about, is uplifting the most dope people that you know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, back to you, Tom Von. Sorry.
Oh no, that was all that I had for Manchester City women. So we can definitely move on in the show.
We're all expecting to beat Everton, though, right? The Baddies.
Oh, for certain. Like this is gonna be one of those 3-0 type of wins.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, and it's the last match of 2023. So I would love to end the season.
Yeah, it's a really awkward time, just kind of in the calendar as a whole, because you have this weird December international break, and then you come back, play for the holidays. The holidays are over. Then you'll have a January international break. It's just very odd. Yeah, so
they're gonna legitimately go 34 days after the Everton match. They play Everton December 17th. Then they play Liverpool January 21st.
Right.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Like, no, thank you.
Yeah, it's so you just hope that everyone kind of pulls through these international windows unscathed, and
yes,
as few injuries as possible, because when you play at a team like City, regardless of whether you play for the men or the women, like you're probably one of the better players for your nation, and you're going to play for your nation. So we do have quite a few players that do play for their countries. So I just want to make sure that we get through that particular window unscathed. We already had a casualty in the previous one with Engledahl. So
yeah. And I cut it out, but he said it in the post match that it's worse off than they believed, because he was asked, yeah, it's weird not seeing Engledahl because she's been so great. And he was like, yeah, we're not going to see her anytime soon, honestly. Best rest her, and Coombs needs to... It's good. Coombs has been doing great, and she deserves the starting time. What I particularly loved about this interview, and it's the same thing that I've been saying for the last few ones, he's opening up more. He's not just leaving. The girls have been good. That's what he used to say. He'd be like, the girls, they're focused, they're good. And it's just been good. And he would say that over and over again for 7 minutes. And it's like, okay, dude, why are they good? Why do you like what you're seeing? And now he's starting to say those things. And he's saying specific names. And he's bigging players up. And if there's something negative, he kind of says it quickly. He doesn't blame, because he would also then blame people very specific. And he'd be like, well, this, and it's great. He's taking the bad. He's giving the players the good. He's looking more like a leader. And that's what I wanted out of a manager. So he's earning my respect.
And I do have to say, tactically, I think he's always been like a B plus manager. But I feel like he's been kind of stepping up his tactics recently, and just use of personnel, especially like the substitution he made at halftime. I think that really, in my mind, changed the match. Just Casper, the spark that Casper, like he said it, Casper set the tone in the second half, and the rest of the squad was up to the challenge. So I do think that he's moving up in that potential tier of WSL managers tactically.
Yes. Yes, he's at least not. You can't actually compare him to Jonas Idewal anymore. Like, I feel like Gareth has pulled himself away from him very well, even though
We'll get to it. We'll
match.
get to it.
Yes.
We'll get to it. Don't worry.
Yes. All right, let's keep it moving to the men. We'll get to this match against Aston Villa. Starting 11 was Ederson, Walker, Diaz, Martial, Stones, Akanji, Foden, Alvarez, Lewis, Silva, and Haaland. No Rodri, Daku, or Grealish because of injury or yellow card accumulation. Pep chose to be very defensive, going all in on control. Maybe too much. I, seeing this lineup for the first time, I thought of you, Tom Baum, and your take of Pep going full Mourinho this season. Could be why the shit isn't working. Did you see Kovacic or Nunez being in the starting 11? Were you hoping that that was going to happen, or were you okay with the team that Pep put out?
I think that you kind of said it. Like, there were players that tied Pep's hand in this particular match based off of, their behavior. Like, if Rodri doesn't get that stupid yellow card in the previous match, like, we're not dealing with this. And that's the one that's most blatant, because I think that we have already established, like, Rodri's presence is irreplaceable in this in this club, particularly without Kevin De Bruyne right now. Mm-hmm. You cannot not have Rodri. And I think even if we did have Kevin De Bruyne, I don't think that I'm not sure how much different the results would look than it did from Aston Villa if Rodri is not available. So I think Rodri tied his hand on the player availability pool and the team sheet. So I didn't have a problem with him trying to go as defensively heavy as he did, just because, shit, man, what else was he going to do?
Facts.
What made this lineup, in your mind, so much more defensive than what we've been seeing? Because, I mean, really, what's the difference? There's no Doku. There's
the six.
Go ahead. You what?
Oh, that's it. It was just the 6 defenders on the pitch, like 6 actual defenders. Like Rico was playing basically a Foden role. That's all.
If you're counting Rico as a defender, then okay, there's 6. But I didn't see it as any much more defensive than what we've typically put out there. I mean, there's the Stones for Rodri. It is what it is. I was just interested in seeing what you were saying, because, like I said, to me, it just looked like a typical City lineup right now, considering who was out. And, with the folks that are on the bench, I guess, you looking in hindsight, we could have said, we could have put one of the actual midfielders in. But they're just getting back and haven't shown that they're ready yet. So to me, this is about what I would have expected. Maybe you could have put Ake in for someone else, but that's just a defender for another defender. So that wouldn't have made it less defensive. It would have just been different. But, I think we can all agree that the Daku injury, the Rodri yellow card, and just being unavailable, of course, is a concern. And lo and behold, it plays itself out that way. So, yeah. I was glad to see Stones back, though, because, again, yes. I believe he is super pivotal to the direction that this club goes. And so having him back was good.
And even in this match, both of these matches, I more have questions that I want to discuss more than going through the match and hoping you guys say stuff, because half of these things are things I've just been ruminating on this entire season. And I'm always in my head about things. So I'm intrigued to see your perspective on overall. Because, like, I want to save Kyle Walker and Ruben Diaz, that conversation for Luton Town. I want to first talk about our offense, because with all the defensive presence in that match, like at least to me, we looked apathetic at times. We ended the match with 54%, 2 shots on goal. I know that's offensive, but 2 shots on goal. What were you seeing that could possibly explain why City looked as bad in possession? On attack, is it just simple? Because, yes, we had Stones as a midfielder and Akanji was pushing up. Yes, we had these people, but the expectation is that they handle their business. What were you seeing? Because 54% is shit. So I'm trying to not sound so negative and awful. And I know most people are shitting on this match because it is a loss, but there are a lot of good lessons in it. And besides, we won in Luton, so there's no really reason to be too like sad sack. But I am intrigued to see what you saw in the match.
I think to Tarik's point about John Stones, it's great to see John Stones, but I think that if you're gonna put him alongside Akanji, you're not gonna get that like flow of the game that you would if you had another midfielder sitting besides John Stones. Like, John Stones is a defender plus. He is not a midfielder by trade. So like asking him to do midfieldy things, like alone, I think is a recipe for disaster. I kind of put this on Pep, which is kind of interesting in a lot of ways, because in my mind, this was an ass whooping, like, to Pep. Like, this, like, Pep would consider this particular match an ass whooping, like, just because of the way that you did get dominated in midfield, and your midfield was, to quote the homies over at Diaspora United, your midfield was not midfielding. So, like, that's always going to be a problem. So, that being stated, my grandfather, who I considered a very wise man, once told me that a good ass whooping will get your attention. So it would appear that, based off of the results at the weekend, that attention was raised. Also, I think that it is quite notable that Calvin Phillips was not in the starting 11 again.
Pep said, shout out to him, but he's not touching the pitch.
No.
Oh my God. And naturally, he didn't say specifically that, but he was just like, great guy, like what he does. But when I look at my starting lineup and when I see the players, I see them in places. In Calvin, I don't see him anywhere. Not good.
Yeah. So that's my takeaway.
Cool. Tarik, since you saw it as a typical starting 11, then what were you seeing from the match? Were you frustrated with our lack of continuity?
Oh, very much so. I mean, we got our butts handed to us, for sure. We could not handle the press. I agree with Tom when he said, having Stones plus Akanji, that midfield, it's not about it being too defensive. It's not offensive enough. To his point, John Stones can be a defender and creep into some of that midfielder role and do some of those offensive things, but it's not his primary skill set. For Akanji, he's trying to do what John Stones does, and he's not doing it to the level that John Stones does it. So if John Stones can't make, isn't expansive enough by himself, putting a lesser version alongside him is not going to be helpful. So in hindsight, being 2020, yes, maybe we could have rolled out Kovacic, who would have helped with maybe keeping the ball some. I got comments on him for the Aston Villa game, but I don't, whatever. So we could have potentially done something different. But at the end of the day, we got our butts kicked. And you know what? It is what it is. We've been playing kind of on the edge, pulling out, draws or whatever. In some cases, falling to a draw as opposed to a win that we should have had. But when you play that way, this is what at some point you're gonna get beat. And you know what? You got to just take your lumps and keep on moving. And no one's going to say this because Rodri is our most valuable player. He's not our best player, but he's our most valuable player in our team right now. But at some point, someone needs to have a conversation with Rodri about why he's why he's made himself unavailable, not through injury, but through ill discipline. And we need to have an honest conversation with that man and say, you're too valuable to us to just be wasting time on the sideline because you can't maintain your composure because you let your attitude or whatever. And that's not the Rodri that we've seen in previous seasons. So I don't know. I'm not going to say this is the case, but I don't know that scoring a goal in the UCL champion to win us the trophy last year, to complete our treble, to win the first ever Champions League for the club. I don't know that that's contributed to this, but what I will say is there's a different player on the pitch, in my opinion, this season than what we've seen in seasons past. And part of that is we've always seen Rodri as the buttoned up, always in control, whatever. And that is not the player that we're seeing right now. And no one wants to have that conversation. So that's okay. I'll be the only one. And I'm okay with that. Because at some point, and it's not all his fault because we've allowed ourselves to be super dependent on that player. And that falls on Pep. Part of that is Pep's problem. But if I'm Pep, I'm having an honest conversation with him and say, you cannot be, again, if you get hurt, you get hurt. Nobody's going to argue that point. But just being ill-disciplined, that's not an option. You got to be better. Just got to be better.
To your point, what I would say to that is it's almost the conversation needs to be had between Pep and Rodri about the level of risk that he used to be able to have. He can no longer do because of the very thing that you just said, that secondary point. It's somewhat of the team around him. He is playing at a risk level right now that warrants the Kevin De Bruyne's there that when he should receive that ball, we are 1 to 2 magic passes away from getting ourselves in that moment. Now, again, it's really, really difficult. We started this breakdown here with Crunk alluding to Tom's great point about Guardiola potentially doing the Mourinho. We are not breaking. This is not earth-shattering news to note that Stones and Kanji as a duo in the midfield are not going to give us the offensive needs that we have. This is not earth-shattering. We all know this if you pay attention enough. To Tom's point, Guardiola says, we got to tighten up in defense here. They are too good. They are playing too well. We cannot play the way we have been. This is what we're going to do. And where I really think the problem was mainly, we were so god tier shit level at our touches and our passes and our movement. Our vision was probably the worst it's ever been for 90 fucking minutes. And quite frankly, it looks a whole lot worse. Whole lot worse. You know when you got a pimple? You know you got a pimple and then you mess with it a little bit and you're like, damn, I just made that shit worse. Bro, we fucked with it a little bit and we made it worse because we have two monumental defensive midfielders trying to go up and down like regular eights. It's just not going to work, bro. But T, that conversation is one to have because Rodri is our MVP, but you on to something. The sit down moment, come to the mirror and realize this ain't last year. You cannot be pulling shit like you were. So I'm with you, T.
He's been eating too much silly steak, real sloppy silly steak. He's being a real stupid sandwich. All those little fun food puns. And also, I want to say, good job, Lando, because your 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 little run that you went on, which was very great, especially having it follow Tarik. Tarik broke character a little bit. He gave a little. He did like a half smile. I was like, I
I'll
saw
smile.
that. I saw that.
I'll smile for sure. No problem. I had no problem smiling.
Do you?
But the reality is my club ain't giving me no reason to smile recently. So if they want me to smile, they got to come up and come play better.
Facts.
That's what they gonna have to do.
Okay, so this that great conversation that came from this. My next is how we get overwhelmed on the counter when City loses the ball. What I am seeing is most of the time, Walker and Vardiol are the furthest people up the pitch because they're expecting a cross or something. How does that ever work? Walker's fast, but he's not that fast. Who would you want tracking back on a streaking winger? Chances are that's who it's going to be. Do you want it to be Walker or Bernardo or Alvarez? Do you want it to be Vardiol or Foden or Daku? Diaz is basically back there by himself because even Rodri and Akanji and all them are pushing forward, trying to get more people into that space. I know Pep loves outnumbering the opponents on the attack, except for we're the ones getting outnumbered, running backwards in defense. What are we seeing that we could change, could tweak? Is it as simple as, why don't you guys just stay the fuck back? Are you seeing what I'm seeing? Like, what are your thoughts on us defensively? Lando, I want to start with you this time.
Crunk, that's really, really hard to kind of understand. What I would say, and this is going to sound really, really corny, but if you go back to those first, I think, 15, 20 minutes, if Haaland finishes the back-to-back shots that he had on goal, this could be a different game. Again, we got played off the fucking park. I'm not making any excuses for my club. We looked god tier shit and we deserve to lose. We don't deserve any points from that match. But again, I say strongly, a Haaland goal changes a lot for me, mentality-wise, in that first half, in the circumstances that we were in. I don't have an answer to your question, Crunk. I don't. What I know is that at this point, the risk all around need to really be mitigated. We need to have some consistent solidarity. And to a guy, I'll just go ahead and say I think is for me right now going to be the root to this solution. Nathan fucking Ake. I think he is a dynamic that, you know what, I'll say I underappreciated. Because when we signed Gavardio, I sat there thinking he's the fucking key. And Nathan Ake is giving me things that Josko can't do right now. I think Josko will eventually be able to do, but Ake's been great for me on that left side. So it's risk management from everyone on that fucking pitch. That's where I would like to kind of really go with that. Tom, what about you?
So what, Crunk, I think to your point, what I'm seeing tactically is kind of an issue of who is available, because so we started Bernardo and Grealish in this match, correct? So they're not really the type that are really going to keep the width of the pitch. So in order to get that width, you get Gvardiol pushing up, you get Walker pushing up. So then you are those spaces in behind them are exposed, and if or if whoever is playing one of those midfield spots can't get over there in time to cut off the pass, it's fuck. Diaz is on a 1v1 situation, with somebody running at him with the ball, and there have been times where there's been, okay, great, he's a great defender, thank you for doing that, and there have been times when what's happening? What are you doing, sir?
Shit. He should.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Like, this is the worst. Like, there's no way that this could possibly be Premier League defending. Like, take that shit to the championship, sir. Like, so it's, I don't know. I think that it's more of a fact that, like, because you did have those two as your wingers, you had to get your fullbacks up to get any sort of depth, to kind of pull apart that back line of Aston Villa. So I do understand what you're stating, and I also like think that that's might be a feature, not a bug, because you're then putting again, you're expecting Akanji and Stones to do midfieldery things, and see that, like, oh, I can't push up as high, so I gotta cover the space in behind. And when they're not doing that, then you get like see those counters like you saw that Aston Villa pulled.
Yeah, even adding on to that, Rico Lewis, who is really still trying to learn whatever position he has, and then they pushed him further up. It's so many players in a position that they don't 100% know where they should be in certain situations. So when we're losing the ball over and over again, they're just constantly being put in positions where they're having to question themselves. In a sport like football, confidence is key. Our players aren't able to play with their full selves and their full confidence, and we're seeing it. You got anything, Tarik?
Well, I didn't. Oh, sorry. I didn't see in the match. I didn't, because again I was working, so I only saw bits and pieces of it. Yeah. Especially the first half. But if what you're saying is that Kyle Walker on the right and Vardiol on the left are both getting forward into attack at the same time, then yeah, that would be fundamental, pretty basic, defending. One goes, one stays. We kind of maintain some balance depending on who's where. So if they're both getting forward, and to Tom's point, we're not getting again, they're trying to get forward to create that width, then that seems a pretty fundamental flaw to me. And I would say we've just got to be better than that. But
yeah,
go ahead.
Well, because I was just thinking, it's not even really this. I've been seeing it this entire season. It worked decently the first couple of games with Kyle Walker when he's pushing forward.
But it should never be both of them at the same time. Because again, what's going to happen is one is going to go, and then we'll still have effectively a back three, which for us changes because we start with kind of a back three with two in the midfield. So in theory, if Walker is going to go, then you would expect either Stones or Rodri or whoever to kind of fill into that back line to make sure we still have that 3-person defense, and then vice versa on the other end. On the other side. So if both are going, I guess that would mean that both midfielders would have to fall back into the back line to make that defensive 4. And if they get forward, then now we're completely out of position, which is what we try to get teams out of position through our passing, right? We build up whole tiki-taka, so on and so forth. The passes are not just for the sake of passing it. It's to get the other team out of position, to stretch them, to move them around. And so if we do the same thing defensively where we're out of position, then that just gives that plays in the other team's hand, and then they attack that space. So we all know when you're playing this City team, the only way really is to try to hit them on the counter. And so if we're out of position, and again, just defensively ill-disciplined, then we're going to get what we get. And you would think that we're not school ground players, right? Our players should know better than that. Those are things that I would yell at my kid when she was playing in high school or club, right? I don't expect this out of professionals. You just got to be better.
Hearing you all talk, all I can think is, yeah, it has someone is just not properly reading, and it's And I know you got to keep the width, and it's almost like they're staying pushed up there. And naturally, they'll take their turns. They're not both deep in the corner. One will be super deep in the corner, but Vardiol is still kind of hanging up there. Same thing, once guard Vardiol gets up there, they don't go much deeper than midfield, than Rodri. They're still out there around Rodri and moving the ball up. Maybe they're just not smelling the danger. Are they more focused on the offense? I don't know. It's troubling me, because when we get to the Luton Town match, if a couple of passes, or the passers were of a higher quality, their technique was just a little bit better, it would have been bad for us. It wasn't. And then my final question on this match, and we can either move on, or if there was something anyone specifically wanted to talk about in the match, because goals, whatever, all that stuff, I don't really care about. I wanted to just overview. Young Rico, man's got bullied the entire match. Pep said he loves him. Everybody doesn't rate him because of his heights. I get it. The thing that Pep loves about him, he can handle tight spaces, quick passes. He should have excelled in this match. He did not, and rightfully was the first player replaced. It was a double sub, but it was the first name. Knowing his height could make things difficult for his ceiling as a defender, possibly. Does he need, what is it that he needs to work on? Is it the awareness? Is it body position? Is it the gym? Because you would think his height, his center of gravity should be like perfect.
He's not grown man
but
strong.
He's getting leveraged off the ball. Yeah.
He's not grown man strong. Like that's really what it comes down to. And I think that, like, to an extent, that's also what Julian Alvarez is struggling with as well. Like, this is a league in which your midfielders need to be, like, unless you are like the second coming of Iniesta, like, you have to be grown men strong in order to, like, play in the midfield in this league. And I don't, like, I'm hoping that over time that is something that he works on. But, like, yeah, like, both of them, to me, like, need to kind of hit the gym and find a way to healthily add 10, 15 pounds. That's my thought.
Anyone, I guess, disagree or have a different point? Because if not, then I guess, well, we can keep moving.
Big boy start and a big boy opportunity for Rico. 26 touches, 2 tackles, 1 interception, 1 block. Horrible rating. I've looked at 3 different websites, all with similar statistical touches. Yeah, he was shit. He's young. Can't do anything about his God-given body, but we got to find ways to persevere and be successful. Ederson, I love you. 22 shots. You kept that game and did everything you fucking could for us. I was very, very proud of his performance. I thought he was the highest rated player for us against Villa, and you brought it. I'm appreciative of you. That could have been a whole lot fucking worse. So, and that's important because we are in the top 4 fucking race, and I like goal differential. It's not a number I give a hulu fuck about right now, but it's a number that I watch. I just like to see where we're at, and we're second. Again, I'm not bothered by it too much, but that was a 1-0 game where we literally could have got beat with 4 to our fucking dome. So we move. Thank you, Ederson.
Yeah, I think at some point we were getting kind of played off the pitch, and you realize that this is just a matter of time. If we don't do something, it's just a matter of time. So when they get the goal, it's not a shock. It's just like, okay, that's been coming. Now what can we do? If we don't go get one back, then we're going to lose this match. And so I think to everybody's point, I think the score flattered us to a certain extent. It made it feel like that game was closer than it probably was. So, you know, you take your lumps and you move on. I agree with you. I don't think Rico was great in this match, which obviously neither did Pep, so he pulled him. I don't know if Kovacic and or Nunez had been available for, the weeks before this match. If he starts one of them here, I don't know. But we'll see what he does moving forward. So, no, I think Rico's got plenty of time. He's insanely young. He will learn. He will continue to grow. I am not concerned about Rico Lewis. It's fact of the matter, he was not the only one that didn't look great in this match. And so, we move on.
We'll move on to Luton Town. Starting at 11 was Ederson, Vardiol, Diaz, Walker, Kova, Rodri, Grealish, Foden, Silva, Alvarez. No Haaland, which I was expecting actually, or at least I was hoping. I posted during the Aston Villa match that if this is the Haaland we're going to see, he needs to rest that ankle. Rest him for Red Star, possibly FIFA Club World Cup. The rumor is he fractured his ankle. That would explain his awful first touch and his lack of pressing ability. He's just been trotting around everywhere, and it's been pissing me off because he's Haaland. He's supposed to he's a world eater, and he's just he's trying to get his teammates to help and press, and it's just like, bro, you're hurt. They're tired. What do you want? What do you want? Yeah. That's also what's annoying me. Yes, I want our team to win. Yes, the whole thing with City is you should expect us to win and win big. But some realities have to be seen. Come on now. Are we just not acknowledging that no player, no world-class national team playing individual has rested for legitimately 2 years? It's what, maybe a month off? Shit's crazy for these players. And we need to find, and I keep saying we because I'm throwing myself into people that I'm nice. I'm throwing myself in with you idiots. We just need to step back a little bit. We need to understand a little bit more. I don't know. Gundogan, he said it. He was quoted as saying it. Yo, bro, you guys are not watching games. You're watching highlights and going to social media. No one's watching games. No one's paying attention to the minutia and the growth in the players and stuff like that. And I was like, thank you. I'm officially that old man on the stoop. I jokingly made my little stoop thing, but it's for real. I'm the old man on the stoop now, screaming at these kids to get the fuck off my lawn. Man, we're supposed to be talking about Luton, which is a win. I came out of or ran out of nowhere. Goodness gracious, that small-ass stadium, that tiny-ass pitch. I'm teed up right now. Oh, my gosh.
Those camera angles are ass. I'm sorry, but
so
they have to find a way to do better. You are putting a broadcast
I said in the kickoff show,
there.
It's bad. It
is.
It makes it feel weird. It just doesn't feel like a serious match. Something about it just feels very rec league about it.
I tweeted that
we're
I'm not sure how close the ad boards are to the touchlines at Kenilworth Road, but it doesn't look safe from a player's perspective. And then on our friend Megan replied back to me and was like, one of our fans was pretty easily able to hop the ad boards and get onto the pitch when they came back and drew the match. So that sounds terrifying to me. I hope that they have I don't know, but that doesn't sound great as a player for me to go and play there.
It'll be a problem for the Premiership next year.
Right? They will be gone. We don't have to worry about that anymore. Oh. Ugh. Yeah. Let's see. Just starting 11. Let's just have this conversation because let's start these conversations. I want to start first. Walker. I know he needed to stay, and the reason why he needed to stay is because we lost Mahrez and Gundogan. And was that the decision? Was we need to keep Walker because we lost all these players? Was like, because especially I'm now thinking back on that 3-hour long rumored conversation they had at the pub, where I assume Kyle Walker and Pep were just hashing out all the problems they probably have with each other. And Pep was telling him what he needs to do to fit into the system. Pep has basically rewritten how we play to get our new captain in because he wanted to leave because he felt he wasn't getting the respect he felt he deserved. Now I feel we're giving him too much and we're featuring him so much, it's becoming detriment to our team. There were like that cross that he fizzed at, like the thud that cross made was insane. Bro, do you see that small pitch? What pitch in the league do you need to kick it that hard for? Rodri, he didn't even swing at it. He just stuck a foot out and was too late to even make connection on it. I don't know. I love the man, and I want to respect him. What he was able to do for us last year, I feel what is going on this year is diminishing the legend that he's been able to build over these last couple of years. Because people are starting to shit on him. And they are like wanting him gone. And that's unfortunate.
But do we care? I mean, let's just be honest. Do we care what highly reactionary, overly sensitive, forgive me, stupid fans think? I mean, reality is he's not been great. He's not. But anybody that's like, oh, he's got to go, get him out of here, that's just overly reactionary and not really worth a response. And I think that's I don't know. This is not the place for this. But this is the thing that drives me batty and why I hate. No, it's not. It's not. Because what I'm about to say is this is why I hate Twitter. Because all I see on my timeline, because I'm connected to all these City fans now, is all this overly reactionary crap. And it ticks me off. And so I don't even want to go in there because all I see is people who supposedly support the blue. And I don't mean that from, a U.S.-based position. That's a whole other conversation. I really don't mean that. But I heard it as I said it, and I was like, wait, that's not what I meant. I don't mean back to blue as in that. I meant back to sky blue, the citizens. Let's just to make sure it's clear. Anyway, I should have just stopped. I told you this wasn't the place for this. Why did you guys let me go down this path? I should have just stopped.
This is exactly the place.
No, at the end of the day,
literally a show to air our grievances.
Look, Kyle Walker has not been good. Kyle Walker needs a rest. He needs some time on the sideline. The problem is the way that we're playing right now with Kyle getting forward. That's less of a position that Rico can play, because when Kyle was on the bench last season, it was Rico in that right side or it was John Stones. Neither of them are going to get up into attack the way that Kyle Walker has been recently. So we have to go back to how we were playing with just that the right-sided outside back moving into midfield and just leave it at that. So if we're going to play the way we've been playing, there is no competition for him. And that's the problem. We did not bring in a true right back. Go ahead.
No, you're right, but I also agree with you that Twitter's gotten to the point to where you're out here, you're basically saying Kyle Walker's lives matter. Kyle Walker lives matter, and quite frankly,
but it's not.
We got to keep him from attacking. We got to keep him from attacking.
Sir,
we got to keep him defensive.
Sir.
All City player lives matter. What are we talking about?
Matters.
Lando and Tarik are just like, oh my god, y'all are fantastic.
So what I will say, I mean, again, I am not. Look, I've got in here in my notes somewhere because I don't really write notes during a game because I just try to enjoy it. But I seen him kick a ball and I'm just like, I said, these shots from distance by Kovacic and Walker are just utter waste of time and space. So I don't think Kyle Walker's been playing great. He's been crap, but it doesn't rise to the place of, oh my God, burn it down, get him out of here. It's just such stupidity when I hear people say stuff like that. Again, we can say he's not been great without having to go there. Pep out. I see people pep all this.
Oh,
Are you serious? What is this like? You're not even serious, dude.
You're a bot.
Anyway,
you're a bot.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so Crunk listed off a list of names that left the club in the summer, right? Gundogan, adult in the room. Riyad Mahrez, adult in the room. Because he wore the captain's armband. I think that Laporte at one point had won the captain's armband for a match like 2 seasons ago. So all of those players are adults in the room that have now left. So now, based off of Kevin De Bruyne's injury, essentially, Kyle Walker is the adult in the room. And I think that he is, advocated to keep playing, right? And we would say that his form has not been great. However, I also believe that we have to keep playing him, not from the standpoint of we don't have a replacement for him. We have to keep playing him because as the adult in the room, we have to keep him occupied because we've seen what his judgment is off of the pitch.
Oh.
And so when he has free time, it would not surprise me at all if Kyle Walker might, have ADD, ADHD, like in that when he's not occupied, he engages in self-destructive behavior. So, yeah, he got to keep playing. He's not informed, but he got to keep playing because he got to be occupied because God only knows what he's not gonna do, what he's gonna do if he's not occupied. I shudder to think about what those headlines will be when then it says Manchester City captain, and then we have to get into a bigger discourse about this particular player. So, yeah, he got to keep playing because we got to keep his time occupied. Because he represents, much like with the what Tarik said with the Rodri conversation, you also have to have that different type of conversation, but with Walker about as the captain, there are certain things that we expect from you, and you have not always shown the best judgment off of the pitch. So these are some things that we expect of the captain of this club. So that's why why he has to keep playing, because he has to have his time occupied.
And I think that's what that meeting was about in that preseason when him and Pep had sushi and broke bread and had that conversation about possibly taking that next level and being a mentor, not playing show me at a bar, not doing other things. It's circumstances that he's put himself in, but at the same time, mentoring Rico Lewis is where I want to see that next step for him. And I would like to see Rico Lewis back in the right back position. It sounded really weird saying back in the right back position, but yeah, that's what I'd like to see. I think Rico's great there. That's where he first got his nice little stint with us and provided that energy. So if Kyle Walker can transition to be in that bit of wisdom, because T's right, man. It started this nice little run here on Kyle Walker and the fucking those zipped passes, man. God, we just from an attacking standpoint, we don't need this anymore. We need to pull from that, and Rico could be a solution.
This is a good. Okay, so let's keep it moving to Diaz. Man got dunked on. It was I felt embarrassed for him. And this is, I think, multiple matches in a row that he has found himself either getting bodied or dunked on. This is 3 matches in a row if you count getting bodied in against Red Bull, Raspu. But apparently, United are looking at getting Openda, and they would potentially have to spend $75 million for him. Please be dumb and do that. Anyway, we've been saying this for a while, and it was just as simple as, hey, he's just not the most athletic dude. Is he? What is it? Is it just because our defensive shape isn't meshing? Because you need a bruiser on our team, but technically that's what Akanji is. Akanji is our bruiser. So it's like, what are we doing with Diaz? Like, overall, he has the quality. Everyone talks about him being a leader and everything, but Walker's the captain. What in particular, like, once we get all our midfielders and stuff back, I want Akanji over Diaz. I want Walker, Akanji, Vardiol, and Ake. That's what I want. I don't want to see Diaz unless it's some like slow team that's gonna be slow and methodical, maybe overly physical. But even then, that's still Akanji's thing. I'm just really, I was never on the Diaz bandwagon, but now it's almost like I want to throw spike strips in front of the fucking bandwagon so I can just end it. Like it's bad.
So, okay, I could take the conversation one of 2 different ways. As far as like in open play, like I think this kind of goes back to because of the wingers that we have been playing, we have had to use the fullbacks to get width, and we have been using both of them at the same time. I guess essentially what I'm saying is that we have not necessarily put Ruben Diaz in a situation in which like is easy for a defender to succeed. Like, so I will give him that necessarily, like, sort of for some of those open field sort of countery things. Now, as far as the physicality goes, man's get dunked on like he's Rudy Gobert, like, and it, like, every time that you see Rudy Gobert get dunked on, like, it's like very the dunker has like a very disrespectful look on their face. Like, yes, like every time I feel like it's one of those, like, it just like disrespectful, like I don't respect you as a defender sort of thing, and like that's a problem. I know that we have talked about with Rodri, the best ability is availability, and especially through your actions. What I will say is if it's a situation where people in the box are not necessarily respecting you, I think, Crunk, to your point, we can afford to lose him for 3 matches. I'm going to be okay if he takes the red card, I guess, in a box, like, just to like prove a point, like, I ain't no bitch. Like, so if he does, like, so that like he is like more respected in the box, and he's not going to kind of get dunked on like that.
He got dunked on. He went flying.
Yes.
He went flying into the boards.
Correct.
Like, fell
again,
down.
Not safe.
Oh, yes, very not safe. But truly, I looked away. I think of his new girlfriend. How do you see that and be like, baby, oh, like, truly, I'm like, part of me is like, you bitch ass motherfucker. What are all those muscles you got for? Weren't you on Men's Health last year? Like, what is going on? What are you just doing Pilates? Is it just real tone? Is it actually not muscle? Are you like ripped like Jesus? It's just like you're just fit. You're not actually strong. Like, what's going? I just make some sense. That's all I'm asking. I get more questions by the second.
You're questioning that dog in him.
Like 1,000%.
I'd question the dog in him too. Opta Analyst for the full game against Luton Town has him as he's the player with the most unsuccessful passes for Man City, totaling up to 16. per Opta analyst. That's for the full game. The dunking was timing, guys. His timing was horrible. He read the ball horrible. For a team that's full of bad risk right now, Ruben Diaz is getting exposed because he's the final one in the circumstances the majority of time, or he's making bad decisions in extra time against Chelsea when we're up 1. That still stings. Shit like that. It's not athletic. I do like the fact that you question the whole girlfriend thing right now. I'm for this conversation. I actually think it's a horrible relationship. I think it's quite toxic. I don't know if she's right for him, and quite frankly, I want my father Ruben Diaz back. And I think I get it back if that fucking little hussy moves on to something else. So I'd be very, very open to somehow making that happen or starting propaganda on this woman, because I don't like it.
Yeah, I'm down. I'm down for this narrative. Let's do it, because she got him out here trying to dress hip, and he's looking a fool. Like, I loved that whole pink coat thing that he was wearing. Like, the outfit was great, but the hat was awful. The hat was like, it completely ruined the entire outfit. Like, I was just like, bro, what are you doing? You are obviously, like, when he put the hat on, it made the whole thing look ragtag. Like, he just grabbed, all right, these are nice shoes, this is a nice coat, these are nice jeans, this is a nice hat. All right, all he needed was the hat to match either the jacket or the shoes, preferably the shoes, and then the whole thing would have just exploded. But just that black hat with all those, like, soft, light, bright, fresh colors, it was just like, bro, your girl got you doing too much. Like, he's doing too much on the pitch. Like, he just needs to calm down. I'm not lying when I say, when I first saw him do that Men's Health cover, I legit went, oh no. Like, no joke. I legitimately was like, this is the end of the Ruben Diaz that we used to love. And now we're here. Silly. These are the things my brain sees and does.
Like, we're both having we're having mentality conversations about Rodri and Ruben Diaz. Like, right now.
Who would think?
Like that was something like last year no one would have ever questioned. Like, and now we are actually having the conversation about what is their mentality. Like, are we sure that they got that dog in them? Like, which is wild to think about.
They
like
won a lot.
That's what we're talking about in the middle of December of 2023.
And on our next episode, we will have a breakdown on the establishment and understanding of the exact K9 level of Ruben Diaz. Dissertation brought to you by Tom Baum.
Yeah, I'm going to do some research. I'm going to figure out what dog each of our players are at this moment. That's going to be my international break. I'm going to write a Bitter and Blue article about which specific dog I believe each player is so far this season. That's what I'm going to do. Because I'm struggling to write because it's all just bullshit. And this is a very fun thing. I'm very excited about this already.
I would love to know what breeds you'd pick.
Oh my gosh. Man, okay.
So let me say this.
In the end, yes.
Oh, no,
yes,
you're good.
Oh no, I wasn't gonna say anything.
I was just gonna say,
you guys gonna say?
This match. So again, we get Grealish and Rodri back, but there's no Stones. I'm assuming that's probably just precautionary because he just played. He's been out for so long. You don't want to overdo it. So if you give Akanji a rest, because again, he hasn't been a world beater either. So the decision was somebody's got to rest. So in this case, he rested Akanji. Mm-hmm. But outside of, so yeah, I won't even go down there. So you had to give somebody a rest. He rested Akanji. Started Kovacic in the 2 with Rodri. It was, so I said earlier, Kyle Walker has not been great. Akanji's been, in my opinion, better than Walker, but he's not been great. And again, we're asking him to do something different. So having him rest wasn't a problem for me. Diaz has not been great. It just is what it is. But at some point we got to say somebody's got to be able. We got to play somebody. And in this case, maybe you're right. Maybe it would be better to have Akanji, but if we're going to ask Akanji to step into midfield, then that's not really helpful either. He's not been playing Vardiol as a center back. He's been playing him as a left back. Even when you put Ake in, he typically will play Ake in the center back role. I don't know. Again, to me, that says I want you, that whoever's on that outside, right, is going to get into the attack more than whoever's in the middle. So by putting Vardiol out there every single match, it says to me that he is the one that he trusts to get forward into attack, his ability to dribble, his ability to keep the ball, his ability to make passes. So it's kind of hamstringing to a certain extent when, everybody else hasn't been playing well. Has Vardiol made mistakes? Yep, he really has. And quite honestly, a lot of our team is we've just not been great recently, and it is what it is. I thought in this match in the beginning, it is similar to the Aston Villa match. They came out with a very aggressive press, and we didn't handle it well. My thought in this match was always, are they going to be able to maintain, because it's Luton Town, right? Can they keep that level of press up for the entire 90 minutes? So I felt we would open the game up quite a bit in the second half because I felt like we would just kind of pour it on. What I didn't expect necessarily was to get down first. But I didn't think they would have what it took to hold on because for what we do to teams, and I feel like we get a lot of goals in the second half because you spend so much energy chasing the ball when you're playing us, chasing us around the park. You can't get on the ball. You're running around, basically wasting your breath. And so I felt like that was what was going to happen against Luton Town. It ultimately plays out that way. We get a couple goals late or relatively late, and then they just don't have enough to come back. But, Grealish ends up with the goal, but I wrote a note, WWDD. Now, if you are my age, you can remember when there were WWJD bracelets and all kind of stuff people were wearing. It was, what would Jesus do? And so you would ask yourself that, and that's how you would kind of moderate your behavior. So I'm going to get something printed up for Jack that says WWDD. What would Daku do? So I wrote that note earlier in the match. Now he ultimately gets a goal, but again, Jack on the counter, which was what we had a couple times. We had a couple of counterattacks. We got a couple, ball turns over in midfield or whatever, and we're going at him. And I just need that man to be more decisive, to be more direct, and go at players much like Daku would. So WWDD, what would Daku do? You will notice that the goal that he did score, he hit it first time. He didn't have time to think about it. He didn't have time to dance on it. He didn't have time to engage with a defender and slow down and put your foot on top of the ball and, step over. No, it's right there. Just hit it first time going to match. That's what we need him to do. Stop thinking and just play. WWDD. What would Daku do? Daku's direct. Daku's going to go for goal. I already told you my thought on the shots from distance earlier. Just utter waste. The other thing I would say about Kovacic, he started in midfield. For as much as we gave him credit for being able to keep the ball and keep it ticking and moving, there is not a creative bone in that man's body. He's not gonna, he's not getting any assists. He's not setting anybody up. He just passed the ball here and there. Stop shooting. Just I don't know. It's just a little irritating. I'm just running down all my notes here. So we are a professional team. I don't know how we get 2 foul throws. I just don't understand that. I saw the replay of the one on Bernardo Silva. It does not appear to be a foul throw. I'm just like, what part of the rule am I missing that made that a foul throw? But the fact that we got whistled for 2 of them in a match, it was at least 2, maybe a third, I don't know, is just like, what are we doing? I don't know if that's just us being, we're just taking our eye off the fundamentals, or if it's just a ref just like trying to find things to blow reason and whistles for. Kind of felt like the second or the latter there, but I don't know. It was frustrating to see because, again, those are things that you yell at high school games, and that's only because half the team only plays in high school, so you don't expect anything more from them. You don't expect that in a club game. If you see a foul throw in a club game, you're like, what are you doing? Whatever. And so here we got professionals getting foul throws. It's just crazy. We already talked about. We said Diaz got beat at the back post. Walker was outside. I don't think either one of them wrapped themselves in glory on that play. We're giving Diaz most of the negative credit, but I think Walker could have been better there as well. And I will say that before that happened, I was writing my thoughts going into the second half because I thought maybe you'd ask that question. And while in many cases we kind of dominated in some ways, but I felt like we had to get that early goal in the second half because I still felt like we would be susceptible to a quick counter or turnover. And quite honestly, at this point in time in this season, I have no confidence in our ability to keep a clean sheet. None at all. And so as I was writing that with the last kick of the half, we go get that goal given up at the back post. It's just embarrassing. So I'll stop there because I've been filibustering. I'll let y'all talk.
No, this is great because I really got nothing. I got how I felt about the match off. It was really just those guys. Oh, hold on. Did you really? Did I might have missed it. Your thoughts on who had thoughts on Kovacic?
Oh, I made a little smart comment. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's good at all. I mean, I think he is what he is. I think that
man connective tissue.
He
said that man is connective tissue on a soccer team.
Quote, doesn't have an offensive bone to his body.
No, I said a creative. Okay,
bone that was him. Okay, yes.
He doesn't have a creative bone.
That's right, a creative bone.
So he cannot be. That's right. He cannot be, in my opinion, he cannot thrive as an 8 in this club because you have to be able to, help facilitate play. It's more than just passing backwards and keeping the ball ticking. You got to be able to, make some incisive line breaking through balls or whatever to help set other people up. And I just felt like if he's on the ball, there is nothing offensively going to happen. And that's not a position that I'm used to at Man City because everybody on our team is both technical and creative.
Yeah. Sorry, you just had like an extendo clip in it, so you were just like going at people. So I was kind of mixing up I thought you were saying that about Jackie Grealish, not about Kovacic. No, I agree with you. And
yeah,
and I'm not. Yeah, and and just really at the moment, Jack he scored, so that was very much needed, and I'm super happy for him because he was actually. I was very pleased with how Jack was in this match, and there was like that's how I know I'm watching the game differently than everybody else because there was a moment in the match where he like got the ball on the left, and then he like did a bunch of pirouettes, dribbling to the center, turned around, dribbled back to the left, and like just like in the middle of it, he just held onto the ball for like 3 seconds. I loved that. I was just like, yes, that's what we need. Because I know if I was defending that, it would piss me off to no end. There's just so many things that Grealish does from a mentality aspect that you kind of need. It was just great to see him. He was a plus. It was nice to see him do his thing.
I think my takeaway from this match was that I say this all of the time. because the club is, same city, same passion. Like, so basically the men and the women played the same. The game script of this match played out a lot the way that the Aston Villa game for the women played out. Except like you had a goal at the beginning of the first half as opposed to at the end of the first half. But the players that we have are better, even if we aren't necessarily playing our best football. And you see that in the way that for the women, it was 3 minutes. For the men, it was like 2 minutes. Like you score 2 goals and flip the game on its head. Like, because we are more talented, because if you look, we're not talking about that wonder goal that small little Portuguese man scored for the team, like to level the match. And I would just like take a moment to say, damn, that was beautiful, because, well, damn, that was beautiful. So, yeah, like we just have better players. So like I expect this even if we're not playing our best, especially against a team like a newly promoted side.
Yeah, and I think that's the part that is somewhat frustrating, because I guess the fact that they are a newly promoted side shouldn't matter, but in my head it does, and I expect us to dominate, not just statistically, but on the scoreline as well. And so when you don't see that happening, when we go down to this team, it's like, what is going on? And I know we haven't been in a great run of form, obviously, by the number of prior to the loss, the number of draws that we had. So for them to get that goal first, it's like, what is really going on? And I think this was the first time that I was just angry. The first, the draws, it was like, okay, whatever. We got stomped by Aston Villa. Okay. When it came into today's match and they got that goal, I was like, this is ridiculous. There's just no excuse for this. This is, and I don't know what Pep, he had his little issues with the fourth official or whoever, and then the officials on the way off the pitch. I don't know what he said to them at halftime, but I'm guessing he probably lit into them as a squad, and I think they deserve that if he did, because we have to just be better. We're much too talented, and I don't prescribe to the, oh, look at City's bench that all these announcers and people are doing, because again, I don't know that we're as deep as people try to make us out to be, but on a player by player, mano y mano standpoint, we're just better than Luton Town. We are. And there are, all the things that play into it, the size of the pitch, how close, because the crowd, at least on Peacock, was insane. It was a lot of, it was loud. Yes. It was crazy. So I imagine, maybe that was maybe it was intimidating. I don't know. But at the end of the day, we're better. We're just better than them. It is what it is. You're better. Go be better on the pitch. And that's what Pep should have told them. Just go be better. And ultimately, we had that stretch where, to your point, we get 2 goals in about 2.5 minutes or whatever it is, and it turns the game on their head. But even after that, there's still quite a bit of time. And again, I told you, I don't really have any confidence in our defense at the moment that we weren't going to give up another goal, right? It's just like, can we hold on? We're hoping to hold on. The fact that, we get to the end of regular time, right? We know it's going to be 1.5 million minutes. I think the people on the broadcast were like, oh, it's probably going to be about 6 minutes, right? And it ends up being 6 minutes. But so, there's probably 5-6 minutes. You got to just know that, right? But we're trying to take the ball to the corner with like 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes of regular time left. So there's like 7-8 minutes in this match left. And we're trying to take the ball to the corner. I'm like, what does this say about our mentality? Are we really this weak that we're trying to go run in the corner and hide with Jack taking the ball to the corner? It's like mentality. What are we doing? But obviously they were just as scared as I was, because like, if we give them the ball, they're going to go score. Let's just go sit in the corner and hope we can sit here for 6 minutes, which is insane. But that's where we are right now, and we got to be better. We just got to be better. The substitution to bring Stones in, I like it, but quite honestly, in the moment, I was thinking he was going to take off Diaz. I was hoping he was going to take off Diaz or Kyle Walker, either one. That's what I wanted in the moment. And I understand. I kind of understand, if you think about the players as profiles, Stones is a different profile than Diaz. So it's not really, while they play the same position, it's not a like for like. Because Stones is, you're trying to get him to go forward, create, whatever. Diaz is just sit back and defend, destroy, more akin to, like you said, a Kanji or Ake. I was glad to get Stones on the pitch, but I wanted it for one of those other two players. But all's well that ends well, I suppose. So at the end of the day, I'll just I'll appreciate it is for what it is. But yeah, I had no real confidence, and really was just cross your fingers, your toes, and whatever else you can, knock on wood and all the good stuff, to just hope that we can just see the game out. And again, that's just not a position that I'm comfortable being in as a City fan, because I've never had to be here before. And, maybe someday we will. But that day's not today. It shouldn't be today. And, we got to be better.
I actually do have Pep. Or I did have Pep. Because he did. And I wanted to play it because you're like, I wonder what he said in the halftime. What he said was, I said to them, you gonna feel sorry for yourselves? Is that what you're going to do? When you scored the first one? All right. You going to complain if you can't get the second one? What are we going to do? He was questioning everything. It was just giving it up. I'm trying to remember specifically how he said it, because he was like, you don't learn anything from a team when we're winning 14, 15, 16 in a row. It's matches like this when you have to come back and you have to fight. Yes, the teams that we had in the past, we probably should have beaten this team. We can't think like that anymore. This team that we have now, this is a new set of people. This is a whole new mindset. I think he said that I basically have to go back, because he was like, yeah, this reminds me of when Sean Deitch was back over at the club that I used to be at. I don't know why can't remember. He's like, this is back when I used to play Stoke. He was like, this was the feelings that it was giving me. That is the mentality that I feel this team we need to have, where we can't assume anything. We are going to have to fight for our lives. This is not the team from last year. It was humbling. It was crazy to hear him say that. Even though it's things that we're saying, it's the things that I'm thinking. But it was just crazy hearing Pep himself say it. But it's good. It's needed. But no one is really pushing that he said that. So I'm probably going to have to clip it and push it. But it's just like, there we go. He's telling everybody calma, and also stop being pretentious little pricks. Yes, we won the treble, but this is not the treble club.
Relearning how to win. I mean, it sticks out so much to me when you say, we know there's extra time. The world knows there's extra time, and we're in the 87th, 88th minute, and we're trying to get it to the corner. It just speaks volumes to the fact that Jack is doing something out of robot mechanics from last year. And we have to relearn how to do this. And it starts with some changes, I should say consistency with some of this back line. I 2000% agree. I have no confidence in being able to stop anyone right now. But again, I'd rather have that as a problem as opposed to not being able to score a goal against Villa at Villa. I mean, that's a bad problem to have. So we go back and forth on those two circumstances, right? The not being able to score, the giving up too much, and it's going to be tough, but I'm proud of Gucci Jack Grealish. I'm proud of Pep Guardiola's acting today. Can we just give him a moment to possibly win himself a nice little Oscar for the notion of him trying to point out to everyone where that ball hit Julian Alvarez? In the face. In the face. Right here. In the face. Fucking hilarious. Loved every bit of it. He was antsy today. He felt that. His cheeks were tight. So I like that moment.
Keep it moving because somebody isn't working. Shock all. And Premier League applause. Liverpool in first, Arsenal in second, Aston Villa in third, City were in fourth, Tottenham fifth, Man United sixth, Newcastle seventh. Luton Town, Burnley, and Sheffield are sitting in relegation station knowing there's 20-some games left to go, but their tickets are purchased. Had their ride bring them there stupid early, and they're broke trying to save as much money as they can, knowing that tough times are ahead for them. All you can do is sit and think about what could have been and what there is going to be. Out of the top 5 clubs, only one of them dropped points. Let's all laugh at Arsenal. United, Newcastle, and Chelsea also all lost. Each club spiraling downward in their own unique, beautifully dangerous sort of way. Tom, I would like to start with yours because I believe your focus isn't on the men. And also, I would just very much like to go see where you're going to go because I might want to join in on what you're talking about.
Okay, so I got 2. And you had talked about Sheffield. I would actually like to give a small hand of applause to Sheffield for finding the Blades finding a way to get a result at home, get level on points with Burnley. I'm not sure that really matters, but like I feel like every
go down together holding hands.
Yes. I mean,
getting level with Burnley is a fucking great phrase, bro. My cheeks are tight for the fucking day we have to worry about getting level with Burnley.
With Burnley, right. But I do feel like every Premier League fan base, when they are promoted, should be able to experience a win at home. So that's a big deal.
Yes.
So I was very... Yeah, absolutely up the Blades. Now for the women, so there was a marquee matchup of the WSL in Arsenal playing Chelsea. They played this match at the Emirates. It's a big London derby. Arsenal 4, Chelsea 1, and not just that, Chelsea looked uninspired to the point where you wonder, like, okay, so Lauren James did another petulant Lauren James-y type thing. I saw that. I saw somebody quote tweet the clip and say something to the effect of Reese is paying for all of her sins.
Yes.
In injury luck. I was like, oh God, that's terrible. But when Lauren James is not focused, that usually means that she needs some managing. Oh. Yeah. Ooh, okay. Well, all right.
It works now.
Okay. Yes,
she needs that.
She needs some. Yeah, exactly. She does need that. I'm not advocating for electroshock therapy for Lauren James. Let me make that abundantly clear. But what I will say is that she needs to be managed, and we just had an international break. She was with Serena Vegman, who is a very different type of manager than Emma Hayes. Emma Hayes was she didn't go to Frisco, but she did go to Miami for the U.S. women's national team. Remember, Emma Hayes has 2 jobs, not 1, but 2. So I'm wondering if what we are seeing is the result of Chelsea not being focused on the league. I have a feeling that, as several of my Chelsea friends pointed out to all of the Arsenal folks talking shit to them, we have a match on during the midweek, and then just kind of blankly stared. So,
Tom, did you just say that Chelsea are children of a divorced home right now?
Yes, I did.
Because I'm listening because you they seem distracted. She's throwing a temper tantrum. The other parent is away, focused on the other team, and I was just like, oh wow, that sounds like. Oh, I have some friends. I grew up with some friends just like that. Just like that.
Yeah.
So, and okay. I worry very much about Lauren James because the way that she did it, you could tell she was going to do something from the jump because she kind of turned very intensely, pulled up, and when she jumped and cleated, she was looking away. Then it was like a little kid who knows that they're going to do something, but they're like, nope, I'm not looking. So I didn't mean to do it. Oops. And didn't even turn around to check on the person.
A no-look yellow card.
Yeah. Yep. And didn't bother to check on the person. You knew what you did. And especially if you accidentally graze somebody, you're going to definitely turn around and be like, oh, you good? She didn't even do that. She just was like, oops.
No, the cruelest part to it was the walk-off. You felt every bit of intention with the walk-off. And that right there, I was like, damn. Salty, not going her way today.
Also, shout out to Emma Hayes for the greatest press conference banger. I was like, when asked, were there any positives about this match? And she said, well, I only have a 20-minute drive home. And that was her only positive from the match. So, yes, I think that was fantastic.
Go. Oh man,
I gotta hear that. I'm going to that presser later tonight. I have it up. That's gonna be hilarious.
Well, Lando, what you got a shock off in Premier League, please, while you're talking?
Man, I'm gonna echo what T has because T's always damn right about this. I'm gonna give one shout out and one shout out only to my fucking club in La Liga, to the fucking boys.
Let's go,
Girona.
Let's go.
My heart and my soul and everything is with you today. Miguel, you left back. Fucking amazing, beautiful man. I don't know what that facial hair shit you got going on, but when it comes in, it's going to look good, Papa. I feel that. Jan Goto, you are balling. Miguel Sanchez, you are cooking up a storm. Chef it up, Senor Sanchez. Chef it the fuck up. The boys of Girona are balling. Something to keep an eye out. It's fucking storytelling. Netflix, get the documentary set up. Call City Football Group. More money into the fucking revenue stream. We need that. Shout out to the boys of Girona. They are balling. Ask yourself, as City fans, would you ever be okay with seeing Danny Blinn be successful as a former United player? If you are susceptible,
he wasn't
a little
that successful
open-minded,
there, so I say yes.
No, he wasn't. Yeah, exactly. but this new resurgence in him. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong, but he's old as shit. The speed has not has improved. There's nothing going on with him. He's not revolutionizing the game, but yet he finds a way to play. And that, I cannot rave enough about what I'm seeing with our boys in Girona right now. So shout out to them.
Okay. So shock off and pause. I got two. I'm gonna start with why you making noises, man?
We're ready, boy.
I ain't said nothing yet. I ain't said nothing yet.
No, why are you acting like you don't know you about to cook?
No. So my first one is Aston Villa, right? You know, they beat us 1-0. They follow that up with the 1-0 victory over Arsenal. Currently sitting in third place. I don't anticipate that they will ultimately be in competition for the trophy at the end of the year. But I do think they have a very strong possibility to finish in the top four, which if it's Aston Villa, us, say Arsenal or Liverpool, that means United's not going to be there, which I'm all for. So kudos to them. If you're going to beat us, go beat somebody else that's our rival too, our rival for the trophy. So go beat them too. If you're going to take points off of us, take points off them too. So they did that. So kudos to them. But my other one, and this is where I'm going to throw a little bit of shade. I'm going to give a shout out to Todd Boehly. Yes, Todd Boehly, owner of Chelsea Football Club. He of the outrageous contract length and amount giving, that Todd Boehly, that same Todd Boehly, who is not just the owner of the Chelsea, but he's also part owner of the Los Angeles Dodgers. And if he has never learned anything, in his life, he has not learned that giving out tons and tons of money for long, extensive lengths of time is not a winning proposition. That man just gave Shohei Ohtani, who, to his credit, is an amazing baseball player, but that man just signed him for $700 million over 10 years. Shohei Ohtani is 29 years old right now, so that means in 10 years he'll be 39. He plays two positions. He's a pitcher and he plays in the field. So he's going to be playing a whole lot. You know, if it works out, it may look good. It looks good. It sounds good on the surface. But what Todd Boehly should understand is that when you give somebody that much money guaranteed over that long of a period of time, if it doesn't go well, hint, hint, look at your Chelsea team, it could go really, really badly. Todd Boehly just doesn't listen. Todd Boehly doesn't learn. Todd Boehly going to mess around and find out. I hope it works out for him because, you know, Shohei Ohtani is nothing wrong with the player. But, God, I wish I had that $700 million. Shoot, I wish I had one of those 10 years, $70 million. Good Lord, what is going on?
And the thing with that Ohtani, he at LA, because of the fact that he was so good and he kept staying there despite the team really going nowhere, he was cheered, he was revered. Now he went to big money Dodgers, big old money.
I didn't call it out, but it's almost like going to the crosstown rival, technically Los Angeles versus Anaheim. Anaheim is not Los Angeles, but Anaheim is where Disney World, I'm pretty sure, is. So it's close enough to Los Angeles. So, you know, it's crazy.
It's like going to the dark side almost. And I'm going to be intrigued.
It's like Chelsea signing somebody from Arsenal and paying them $1 million, crazy money to do it.
Yeah. I see him getting booed, and I see him not liking that. It's going to be interesting.
He's coming off of a UCL injury as well that he chose not to have surgery on.
I was just going to say, he better hope he doesn't get hurt. That's a lot of money,
bro. They stopped.
No, he stopped him. He does get hurt. It's fine.
They stopped him from hitting at one point and just allowing him to pitch, and then they did vice versa. Like they're already monitoring him on a certain, type of careful regimen. He's 29. It makes no sense. And yeah, the Boehly's running the Dodgers, or semi-running the Dodgers. He's fully running Chelsea, and I'm fully fucking laughing at the whole thing because the man's an absolute clown.
My applause. It's for Patrick Vieira, who was unceremoniously fired from the club he gave great memories to. Blamed for their terrible play and stagnation, while simultaneously bringing back the old ting that is an old ting. Now, look where they're standing, spinning in circles with no answers about their future. What is Patrick doing? He's hanging out back at France, at Strasbourg SC, who's finished last year's campaign in Ligue 1 in 15th place. They currently sit in 10th, with a club whose entire team payroll is 17.1 million euros. That sounds like a small amount, right? You'd be correct, because Crystal Palace's payroll is 80 million euros. Patrick Vieira cooling in France, excelling with the team in big transition season in a top-heavy league. Vieira is watching Crystal Palace, his high school sweetheart, who broke up with him on some "it's not you, it's me" bullshit. He's like seeing how they're moving now. It's like a big fall off, and like part of you, if like they feel bad, you want to reach out and like check in. How are things? But you don't want to fall into that trap. That's what they want. The prevailing thought for me, at least, what I would do, what I'm doing now, I'm laughing. Maybe if I like had unfollowed them, I'd follow them back. And I'd watch all their stories and make it super visible. Let them know I'm watching the fall. Shout out to Patrick Vieira. Flourish, King. You deserve.
But you want him to go ahead and like a page on their site, like from 3 months ago, just to be like, I still see you. That's cute. That's cute. Yeah. I like that. You know why he's not going to do that? Because every time he watches and he's seeing the highlights and looks at the pitch, he sees that old ass dinosaur Hodgson running him. Come on, man. Come on, man. Good like, for Vieira. I'm happy that you gave that. That's a good shout out to you. And the applause for him.
Deserves everything that's happening to them.
Yep.
They deserve all of it.
2,000%.
I have a new Champions League anthem. Seems to work on the first one, and that's it. That plan is going to work somehow during it. All right, this match against Red Star Belgrade, it doesn't really matter. It's a nothing burger. I expect us to win easy. I want Pep to play all the kids. Ortega should get another start. I don't really know. Like defender-wise, there's not really anyone you can slip in there. You give people rest who need it. This is the match where you play Diaz. You play Diaz. You're like, no, bro, you're playing out here. You're playing things out. We'll rest you next week. What are y'all expecting? What are y'all hoping to see? This should be a 3-0 win.
So I've got it down as a 2-0. I don't care about the roster. I don't need the lineup. It's like just put people out there. We just need 11 players. Put 11 players on the pitch. Let's get the game over with. Hopefully no one gets hurt and we move on. But yeah, I expect us to win 2-0.
I'd really like an Oscar Bob signing. And I'd also really like to go ahead and just state for the record that T's putting it out there. We're getting a clean sheet, baby. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, I know who it is. That's fine. I need it to happen. I need to build some sort of... I don't give a shit. I don't care how bad the opponent is. It don't matter. It does not matter. If we get a clean sheet, that's fucking progress. Start to tighten it up. Little by little. I like that. I'm going to go with 2-0 as well.
Yeah. I'm tired of ones and twos. I need to see threes. I need to see fours in my life. I just need some big score lines, please. I feel like we'll just get that from our women against Everton. And that's it. The next match on the weekend against Crystal Palace. I know they have their own, injury problems and whatnot, but that's a fucking excuse. It's a match against, we're at home. We should handle business. I know it's going to be a slow, boring game. They don't really allow many goals. This could be a 2-0 match. I don't think they're going to score on us, though. 2-0. What y'all got?
I went for a 3-1 City win because I don't think we'll be able to keep a clean sheet in 2 back-to-back matches.
He's like, back-to-back matches? Nah. What you got, Lando?
Yeah, I gotta agree. Except I don't want a copy of them twice. Damn, T's on the ball tonight. I'm going to go 3-2. I think we give up 2. One of them is going to be a shitty pen off bullshit. If Michael Olisi's healthy, Michael Olisi balls.
I do not want to give up a penalty at home. That hurts. That's going to hurt. That's going to hurt. All right. Well, that's the episode. This was a fun one.
Hold on. Before we end the episode, I know we're well over time, but really quickly. So this is a question.
I forgot to say Tom's.
Oh, you got Tom's?
Yeah, 2-1 against Red Star win, and then a 1-0 win against Palace.
Okay.
What is this question?
So my question is, we all have said that it's not worked out for Calvin Phillips. We've talked about him moving on, potentially Juventus and other places. Today, I heard rumor that Manchester United could come in for him. So the question I have is, how badly do you want to get rid of Calvin Phillips? Would you be willing to trade or to sell him, loan him for that matter, to Manchester United? Yay or nay?
70 million.
They actually might pay that. If we make that offer to
the conversation starts at 70.
To Chelsea, they would definitely pay it because Todd Bowley just throwing money away. But maybe we could get them to give us 70. But okay, start at 70.
I like that. Yeah, if they pay 70, yeah, you can have them. Fine.
But, and for you, my friend, I pack bags. I bring him to your stadium. I bring him free of charge, 70 million. And on game day, I bring nice lady. Come do his braids. Make it really nice game day. Nice braids, game day, 70 million. Free of charge, my friend. 70 million for you, my friend.
This Thursday, tap into our lit stream starting 7 p.m. Most dope guests for you. Then we have watch party for the CL this weekend, or this week. And then we have Saturday and Sunday. We just got shows all over the place. All of that information is in the show descriptions. Follow us on social medias, Twitter, Threads, which Footy Threads is officially stepping up because there's a hashtag. It's blowing up. It's doing great. It's fun. The energy's good over there. I would say people start checking it out. It's good. So Threads, X, Blue Sky, TikTok, Instagram. We're on all those things. I'm even back on Spill. Still lame as fuck. But it's good energy. It's fun. But it's kind of lame. There's no footy. It's just people just walking around a mall. That's what it feels like. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget to leave a comment and hit the thumbs up. If you prefer audio, rate and review. If you're on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Good Pods, all those things. If you want to support the pod, we're selling our tickets to our first event. Hey, Chicago, live and lit, on April 20th, 2024. 3-course breakfast. We're doing a watch party for City versus Tottenham, and more events to be planned. I'm super excited, and we also got a Patreon there. We just out here doing things, all that stuff. It's in the little link tree. Click it. All that stuff is just bang, 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 bang for you. Just hit a link, start hitting links, and go crazy. My fantastic co-host, please let people know how to get to you. Tarik, let's start with you.
You can find me at Tarik Peterson, TarikPeterson, at Tarik Peterson on Twitter or Threads.
At Shades of Blue Pod, where you need to be getting all of your quality City content. Check in with us. Footy Threads. You need to check it out. If you got an IG, if you got a Facebook, it led to an IG, led you getting Threads. Footy Threads is something to get into. Check out Shades of Blue Podcast.
Hey, Lando said it. Shades of Blue. We're on all those things, and I already told you all the apps that we're on. I'm sorry, I just got incredibly distracted because I saw Serena Williams and her husband were in a Cybertruck, and it's just like, Serena, you can't be doing this. You know the vibes. Shady gang, shady gang, shady gang.